1000 feet, speed 350, 340.
And your road is about 118.
Heads up, it's 30 west, Charlie Hill.
Team.
1 Alpha has 2 contacts, 166 at 11, Angels 5.
Hey folks, Jeremy McGowan here, and today is the reveal of the remote viewing challenge that I had issued at the beginning of the month. I received 20 submissions on the remote viewing. So what I'm going to do is, after sanitizing the submissions and removing the names of the people who submitted their guesses or remote viewing results, I will read their emails in verbatim, one at a time, and then I will show you what's in the box. So, without further ado, the first submission came in and said, "Hello, I'm guessing it's an apple in the box, and the box is placed inside the plant box." Kind of spun me out a little because I was thinking of hosting my own remote viewing challenge just today. The next one was, "Hi, I think the item is a miniature Statue of Liberty, maybe about 1 foot tall." The next one says, "It's a safety pin." The next one says, "I believe it is a key, and I want to say an older model Honda Toyota. The box will be under the cushion of a chair to the right, but not the actual cushion, like a little throw cushion on top of the chair." The next one says, "The object is in a red metal toolbox, 20 centimeters by 30 centimeters, and it's a compass." The next one says, let me find it, this was, "I did 3 attempts over 3 different days, and here's what I saw. Now forgive me if I'm so off base, and this is hilariously wrong, but the first time I tried, I saw the box. It looked green. It looked bright green, and it appeared to be between 2 surfaces, pretty close to the top and bottom, both surfaces relatively flat, like under a couch or on a very shallow shelf. The only thing I saw in the box was an orange ball, like a light, and there was more, but the detail couldn't be made out the first time. On the second attempt, I saw the inside of the box and had a swirly walnut-like texture. And then I saw what looked like light and dark, furry arm. Curiously, the ball wasn't there this time, even though I tried to see it. On the third attempt, I saw the arm look to be part of a dog, resting on the same couch thing that I saw from the first image. Honestly, I couldn't tell if it was brown and cream or black and white. The dog was in the left half of the photo. It appeared to be a photo, a Polaroid maybe, and on the right side was a human face, either bearded or shadowed, with some kind of open mouth expression, and possibly their arm up. Again, no sign of the ball. If this turns out to be accurate, my guess is the first time I just found the ball and created a light source to see by, and the second and third attempts were me learning to adjust the focus and brightness. If it turns out to not be accurate, I'd be curious to know if there was anything nearby that matched the description. Again, this is my first experimental run at deliberately remote viewing, so I have no idea if I just imagined this hard or what." The next one is a person who says, "I'm not a remote viewer, just trying this out of curiosity. Sometimes random things will pop into my mind, odd enough that I take mental note of it to remember, and I'll see a correlation to that thought after. It's rather hard to explain. Anyway, the first thing that popped into my head, the object, I had a flash of a green statue. You can hold it in your hand, like as if you would hold a water bottle, for example, 5 to 8 inches long. Material was rock or tumbled gemstone. First, the color that came to mind was green and white stone. Google tumbled gemstones to try to pinpoint the color I saw in my mind, and I found resemblances in tumbled green amazonite, tumbled green beryl, tumbled green aventurine. I thought I should note the second color that I saw as well, It was a darker green, very much like verdite rock. It's rock material. And then he says the word moss. The next one. Good morning. Sorry about the delay in sending this. We spoke earlier in the month on Discord, and I've been tied down with other projects. In the interest of doing your task in good faith, I tried to do what I could to mitigate the noise regarding your target. Announcing that it's in the box leaves a lot of room for the conscious mind to guess, as you'll see in my session. To that end, I had a friend act as my monitor and assign your target a target reference number, as well as retask me a second time to try to make it a bit more blind to the target. That being said, the only thing I would personally wager as a strong impression is that the object has a rounded base platform and some sort of spherical mass above it. I don't feel confident in naming it, and as you'll see in my sessions, I waffled about it being a trophy or a snow globe, and that it's a kid's toy with lightning in the center. I think it's called a plasma ball. I don't know. For the hell of it, I also tried to guess where the box was being stored in your home and what side of the box it would have been on when it got opened, but by the remote viewing community standards, that's a wild-ass guess. Figured it would be fun to do. I don't personally believe I scared your dog. That's in a reference to one of the Twitter posts that I had put out earlier where my dog went absolutely nuts at one point in time. After completing the first session, my friend asked me to run a secondary session with another method. I am an amateur internet psychic with roughly a year of experience in remote viewing. I use a variation of Prudent Calabrase's Transdimensional Systems Remote Viewing, named after her company and abbreviated as TDSRV. In the second session, I modeled my data using my take on controlled remote viewing, which was the original method that came out of the CIA Stargate project. Summary of methods. I'm not going to name that because it lists the individual's username, but in session number 1, the session begins with some administrative information regarding the time I started, my relative physical and emotional state at the time of viewing, and a target reference number, and a scribble meant to be a mental conditioning exercise for tuning into the target. The scan pages are broken down by an ideogram, the squiggle. The A section is a description of the line and how it feels while I probe the line's physical and topographical properties. The B section is what we call Gestalt, a 2-word summary of the elements of the scan. The C section is where I probe the scan for properties of its related to the 5 senses. The D section is a sketch of the visual impressions of the scan. The direct collector in TDSRV is meant to be more advanced sensory data regarding the target, but I used it to make intuitive statements about the scans themselves in relation to the target. After that is the general sketch, where I take the D sections of each scan and try to intuitively sketch them together to make a single image. In the second part, I was retasked and asked to go through stages 1 through 3 of the controlled remote viewing CRV. Basically, this means instead of going through the ideogram, perceptual data, and sketch on individual parts of the target on a single page, I instead broke them down part by part by part across multiple pages for the target as a whole. This retasking objective was to have me explain what the data I sketched in scan 2 of the last session was. Thank you for setting up this target. Sorry for writing you a whole book. For what it's worth, I found the best way to prove or disprove remote viewing is ultimately try for yourself. All right. Opening up their sketches and data. I'm looking at it, a descending, curling up, over, rising and rolling down and to the right, firm, smooth, rounded, spherical, artificial structure, white, black, glossy, shiny, clear, very smooth, makes a clacky noise, very dense, small red-blue elements, spherical shaped, lightweight, no taste, lukewarm, slightly cold to the touch. A sliding, turning, rolling down, little angle, it's hollow, tall flat edges, lower flat in the middle, tall again at the end, man-made structure, darker brown, tan, light, but not as lightweight as the last scan, regular, rustling noise, papery scent, tastes bland, room temperature, smooth, faintly textured, swirling loop-de-loops, firm, dense, tall, broad surface, subject, artificial, green, metallic, gold, brassy color, reflective, shiny, taste metallic, 3 to 6 inches, handheld sort of size, fairly lightweight, feels sentimental in nature. Scan 1 feels like it's the top part of an object, sports-like feel related to entertainment and carried. Scan 2 feels wooden, sturdy, holds up the other pieces. Scan 3 is a symbol of an achievement and a sentimental value. General sketch, they have a picture of a little trophy, like a guy standing on a pedestal holding maybe a football or something over their head. Where is the box? They described my house, and that was it. What side of the box will it be on? Said the target will be on the left side of the box with a piece of paper on the right side of the box. All right. The next one. It's a plastic toy, red and pink, human hand-sized, irregularly shaped with many hard edges. The next one is, hello, it's an apple, or red apple, red ball on a black background, a model of a seaplane, or a model of a seaplane with an orange nose cone, all inside a wicker plant pot, or a copy of The Hunt for Skinwalker, a photo of Skinwalker Ranch, a photo of your vehicle slid between the books on the bottom shelf of the side table to the right. May not be books, can't quite make out what they are. Maybe it's a stack of coasters. The next one is, the item in the box is a notebook. The next one says, I am new to this, but here goes anyway. I see a large light room with a low coffee table. On the table is a light brown, honey-colored wooden box with an angled cut hinged lid. Front of the box has a keyhole. Inside the box is an object that I was a bit unsure of initially. To me, it looks like a white, round ceramic object, glazed white, with a lip around it. Looks like it might be a pepper or salt shaker. Anyway, that's what I saw, but like I said, very new to this process. The next submission says, Jeremy, the box is metallic, grayish, like a box a cashier would put money into. The item inside the box is a coin. Feels like it's a penny. Nearest next choice would be a challenge coin of sorts. The next one says, hello, I have tasked a viewer with this challenge. He's relatively new to remote viewing and has only been practicing for a few weeks so far. I didn't tell him anything about the nature of the target, that it was placed in a box, or who it belonged to. I kept him entirely obvious as to total unawareness of any details of the target. Blinding provides ideal conditions for viewing. Front-loading a viewer with details only interferes with the process, as that tends to fuel imagination, guessing, and other mental processes that stand in the way of data flow from the intuitive faculties. 2 sessions have been conducted. The first one was a general session on the target, and the second one further explored a specific data point from the first session. To help you understand how to interpret the session data, AOL means analytical overlay. Anything marked as AOL or placed under the AOL column is not to be interpreted as intuitive data. AOLs are guesses and imagination that arise and are written down to get rid of it from the mind so that the viewer can continue to focus on getting actual data from the target. These AOLs are not deliberate attempts to guess what the target is and should not be interpreted as such. They are noise from the analytical mind. The squiggles following the target numbers are ideograms. They are not supposed to be a direct sketch of the target. Instead, they contain symbolic data which the viewer is supposed to decode and interpret. Sketches of the target are made during S3, Stage 3. The 2 PDFs containing the session data are attached to this email. If you need me to clarify anything, please feel free to write back. I would furthermore like to implore you to seriously look into the topic of parapsychology. It strongly overlaps with ufology. The rest of this is book suggestions. So session number 1, looking at the sketch, the ideogram, AOLs, sounds, squeaking, wind, temperature, hot, maybe very hot. Luminescence. Impression is that the object is lit in a dim environment. Dimensions. A mountain or some tall natural structure. Biological form. A person. A domed object on flat ground. Sketching. It kind of looks like a river. And that is that for that one. And then session 2, it says they felt like fire crackling or rain falling and very, very hot. My left leg is painfully hot in the left calf. Fire crackling, safety, silky, hard, rough, very hot. AI in left calf. The luminescence is glowing. It smells dusty. Seems a bit overwhelming. And then they have more squiggles that look like rivers. Someone painting and laughing. Those are their notes. All right. And the last submission that I received is the object is a wooden duck hunting decoy. It is predominantly brown with a green flash, working attached. So looking at their document, it says remote view challenge. It has a picture of a duck. Rubbery, yellow, orange, rubbery, squeezy, rubber ducky, hard, wooden, carved, smooth, heavy, solid, green, pick up, place down, and push. Emotions, topography, life forms, things, brown, green, wooden, heavy, decoy, hunting, wooden object shaped like a duck. It's predominantly brown with green flash, duck hunting decoy. So that was theirs. So that was all of the submissions that I received. I did receive other ones that were publicly submitted through Discord or Facebook or on YouTube comments. I am not going to read those because they were not submitted as I had requested via email with the title RV Challenge, and I'm simply just not going to go through and hunt them down. I did read them, and none of them were close. That being said, let's take a walk, and let's go see what's in the box. So please forgive the mess in my sitting room. I am packing for a trip, and I've got things strewn about. But as you can see, there's the box. The box has sat there. It has not been moved at all, with one singular exception, to lift it and place a target picture underneath of it that was requested by one remote viewer, which I did. I have not opened it at all. It has sat there exactly as I placed it at the beginning of this challenge. I have not moved it, touched it, or done anything to this box in any way, shape, or form. So let's take a look at this. It's definitely not wooden. It's definitely not metal. It's definitely not gray. It's definitely not a cashier's box. It is a plastic, waterproof Pelican box. Opening this up. It's not illuminated on the inside. It's not dimly lit. It was completely dark in there. It's also waterproof. Looking down in it, the object is a 1 ounce Canadian silver maple leaf coin with a serial number on it. On one side, it's got the Queen of England. On the other side, it has a maple leaf. Now, this is the folded piece of paper that shows the NFT that I created to prove the provenance of the object. So let's go back up to the computer and check out the NFT. Okay, so what you see here is OpenSea.io. This is where I hosted the NFT that shows the provenance of the item that was in the box. We all know that that item now was a Canadian silver maple leaf, as I showed you just a few minutes ago. These are my other NFTs that I have for sale on OpenSea.io. We won't get into those, but this is the NFT that I created for the Remote View Challenge. So let's click on that. This shows that the NFT contains unlockable content that can only be unlocked by me. It was created on 1/30/2022. This is the link to the original tweet that I put out about this. Up here is the unlockable content. So if I click on that, it takes us directly to that picture. That is the picture of the coin inside the box to prove the provenance of the coin in the box as the remote view challenge. Now, I will also eventually, not today, put the data sheets that people submitted and everything else online for people to review the written statements and such that folks have submitted. But after going through everything and looking at all of the submissions and reading them and rereading them, only one person even identified it as a coin, but they identified it as a challenge coin, and then the rest of the remaining information was completely and totally wrong on that. So I would say that this experiment has not resulted in any actionable data, has not resulted in any kind of proof of remote viewing. So, folks, there you have it.
12 miles. Radar contact approaching 5 miles.
Contact 70 miles, final break. 230.
Mile and a half.
Still single contact. 6,000 feet, speed 350, 340.
And your road is about 118.
Heads up, it's 30 west, southbound.
Team.
1 Alpha has 2 contacts, 166 at 11, Angels 5.